Hi, everybody. I'm Mary Angela, the director of the Center on the Hill, and it is time for another episode of Tell Me Something Good. Now with special guests. I'm here with a very special guest, Jim. Introduce yourself, Jim.
Hello, my name is Jim Broyles, and I'm thrilled to be here.
Thanks, Jim. Jim is an actor friend of mine. I've done a lot of shows together with him over the years. Since 2013, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, a while. So what else do you do, Jim? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, during the day, I work for a company called Rittenhouse Book Distributors. It's a niche within the book industry, the publishing industry, although we are not a publisher. We're a distributor for health science and medical textbooks, and we also have our own proprietary digital library with full of medical and health science resources. And I work within the sales and marketing department of that company. Although right now, like so many, I'm doing this from here. Oh.
Aren't we all? That's what we're doing. All right. Well, thank you for joining me for Tell Me Something Good. This game, for those of you who are unfamiliar or are just now tuning in, is a game that was given to me by HPS Senior Living. It is the Common Ground edition. It's 144 thoughtful ways to bond with a fellow human. And so the categories are like things like common experiences and common interests and things like that. And I just kind of pull at random because I don't like to think in advance. So I've pulled 3 cards. Each one has a really fabulous picture on it. So here's the first one. Picture.
Okay.
And the question is, a foreign language you'd like to learn. So this is really easy because I've tried to learn this language at least 3 times now in my life. I would really, really, really like to learn Spanish. I really would. Apparently, up until I was 4, I was basically bilingual. And then my parents got a divorce and I moved away from that environment and promptly lost pretty much everything. I definitely retained a lot of vocabulary. I know a lot of Spanish vocabulary, but making sentences and grammar is really hard for me. But the truth is that grammar in English is really hard for me. That was never my best subject, which is funny because I love to read and write, but I am not great with English grammar. And so I tried to take Spanish in high school and I did not succeed. And I tried to take it again in college and I also didn't succeed. And even as recent as like 2 years ago, I got the Duolingo app. I tried to teach myself Spanish and I got pretty far. And then we started getting deep into grammar. And it was it just wasn't sticking. And it's unfortunate because my grandmother and grandfather only spoke Spanish. They came over from Cuba. And I never really got to fully speak to them that I can remember. Apparently I did when I was 4 and younger, but not later on. So I would love to learn how to speak Spanish. But Jim, is there a language you'd like to learn?
Yes, I would I'd like to learn, several, but most of all, I'd like to learn French. And that's one that I did study at school, but then I switched to Spanish and continued. So, Spanish, I'm really rusty on because I haven't done it in years, but with a brush up, I could probably be somewhat competent in just basic communication if I ever had to go there, or reading, the really advanced stuff, I need a serious brush up for. I'd actually have to work at that. But French, I've pretty much forgotten a lot of it, and I just love the sound of that language, and it would be great to, but
you lived in New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
So
nobody speaks that there, though. They speak, Cajun is a regional dialect. That's really mostly out in the more rural areas, it has French roots, but it's just, and it is in so many other ways, it is unique, even in the way people speak, but not the language for the most part. Everyone just speaks normal.
Normal. That's cool. All right. Let's pull up another. Let's see. Our next one is this one. Here's the picture.
Okay.
It says, whether you believe there is another person just like you out there. Do you believe there's another person just like you out there, Jim?
Well, I've been told that a few times, or at least I've been told on more than one occasion, like I saw somebody, a guy who looks exactly like you. That's funny. My brother is a musician, composer, songwriter, and he has a song called the Doppelganger Song, which is, the premise of which is everybody has a doppelganger somewhere. Yes and no. Like, I think it's a little bit presumptuous to assume that we are all like snowflakes, but I guess I don't think there's anyone maybe quite precisely exactly like me, but are there people like other guys like me? Yeah, sure.
So I've run into me like twice in my life, and both of them were at auditions. It was a person who looked like me, who had a similar voice to me, who had a similar physicality, looked like she had the same sense of style, not looked exactly like me, but definitely sort of same type of person, which has always really intrigued me, because it wasn't until I started teaching at these thespian conferences and seeing the next generation of kids, the theater kids coming up, that I started recognizing myself and my friends in them. Not necessarily, again, the physical appearance entirely, but definitely personality, style, type. Like, I was like, oh, there's there's my friend so-and-so, like, I see it. But at these auditions, I walked in and it was so sort of alarming to see this person that I was like, well, there I am. So it's between me and her, and if we're the same, this director's literally going to flip a coin and be like, well, I could take her, or whose schedule is the best? Who can I work with easiest? Which is really interesting. So yeah, I don't think there's 100% the same person, but I think you definitely can find people who, look a lot like you. I think doppelgangers are real. I've seen a few friends of mine where I'm like, that had to be, oh, that's not my friend. But I think there's personality traits and things that I don't think you can match exactly. I don't think it's 100% another me, but it would be really interesting to see. I did find another Mary Angela Saavedra on Facebook once, and she is 22 years old and lives in Colombia. And she definitely does not look like me, but she's got my name, which is interesting, because I thought for sure I'd be the only Mary Angela Saavedra in the world, but I'm not, sadly.
Can I just add one thing?
Sure.
What song I mentioned earlier by my brother, the artist, his band is called Dr. Pants, and they do the Doppelganger Song. If he watches this, he would be upset if I hadn't mentioned that. The actual.
Thank you for clarifying. That is a very important distinction. Yes. All right. So our last one. This is our picture.
What does that say on this time?
It says social cycle.
So that's what I thought, but I wasn't. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it says, whether you recharge your batteries by being alone or being with others. So it's pretty obvious that I recharge my batteries by being around people, which is why this has been a real hard experience, staying at home. But things like this, like Zoom and phone calls and conversations, really help. When I've been particularly busy or come off kind of a long project, most people want to be like, leave me alone. I want to be in my shell. And me, I'm just like, hey, come over and let's all relax and watch a movie or play a game or just be together. I definitely recharge my batteries in the presence of others. How about you, Jim?
Yes. No, I mean, yeah, I definitely am someone who recharges my battery by being alone. Although, but of course right now, there's really no choice involved, which, and it's funny, like I saw really when this 6 weeks ago, I saw a lot of people posting on, online that, like, introverts, we are uniquely prepared for this situation. And I'm like, yes and no. Like, yes, that's true, but, this is that to its extreme. But, it's a weird thing. I'm equivocating a lot in these answers, I realize. But, like, it on the one hand, I can find it very, very Uh, gosh, I don't want to use these words because it sounds so hokey, but it's very sort of life affirming and energizing sometimes to be with my favorite people. But, it's like the larger the group gets, the more energy it takes for me just to do all that. So, yeah, I'm sticking with my first answer.
Gotcha. Nothing wrong with that. You're going to have a supercharged battery when this is all over. You're going to be ready to change the world. You're going to be like, I'm good. I'm super good. Let's do this. Let's do all the things. Great. Well, thank you, Jim, for sharing your thoughts with us. Out there, you guys, I'm going to recap for you. Email your answers to me at msaavedra@chestnuthillpres.org. That's msaavedra@chestnuthillpres.org. And today's topics were a foreign language you'd like to learn, whether you believe there is another person just like you out there, and whether you recharge your batteries alone or by being with others. So share your thoughts with us. And thank you, Jim, for being with us. Really appreciate it. Absolutely. Have a great rest of your evening, everybody, and thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.